Rev up your engines!
Enrique666 says, Scotty, is it true when you start an engine, it runs dry for 20 seconds or so before oils reach it? No, that's not true. If it did, they just lock right up. It's just a very short period of time that the top of the engine takes for the oil to pump back up into it. That is why, if you look at modern cars, many of them take a very lightweight oil, so it pumps up to the top fast. They're all designed that way. That's why if you got a car and you think, well, it's burning some oil, so I'll put some real heavy oil so it'll burn less. It may burn less oil, but then the top of the engine's going to be dry longer before that thicker oil gets up there and it'll wear out faster. So stick to the oil it was designed for. And realize one thing, that modern cars, they don't have full flow oil filters. The oil filter is bypassed on startup, a lot of the oil, so it doesn't have to go through the filter. It just immediately starts lubricating the engine. So it doesn't take long. They still wear upon startup, but 20 seconds, no. Maybe a fraction of a second, but not 20 seconds. Jordan Sparks says, Scotty, I've been looking to get in a hybrid Lexus UX200 and was wondering how the system works. If the hybrid system goes out, will it revert to being a non-hybrid car? The problem is, if the hybrid system goes out, the computer runs both systems together and it will not work correctly. I've seen guys do it that just wanted to laugh. The hybrid system broke on one, and they were able to buy the car used cheap because people said, well, you can't really drive without the hybrid. So they put an alternator on the car and then drove it that way. Now, it had a lot less horsepower, and lights came on all over the place, but they drove it that way. It is a hybrid car, and it uses a giant generator to generate the electricity. But if that system breaks, then you will no longer have anything sending electricity into the system, and as soon as the battery runs out of power, that's it. It won't run. Like I say, these guys, they were crazy, and they hooked up an alternator and a fan belt, and they drove it around that way. It was kind of cool, yeah? But it was a lot slower because the hybrid adds boost, and there was no boost because it was broken, and all the warning lights kept coming on. So it's not really a drivable thing for a normal person when it breaks down. Joe in Nashville says, I have things that go clunking the night and day. I got a 2019 Ram 1500 with 36,000 miles. It's making a clunking noise. I took it to the dealer 3 times. They gave it back to me unsolved and spent $380 of my money doing so and got nothing back. It's driving me insane. I noticed a little more side-to-side movement in the front end. From New York, moved to Tennessee. I don't trust anybody. I'm in Franklin. Help. Okay, well, hey, just email me, scottykilmer@gmail.com. We'll set up a time you can come from Franklin. It's only a 45-minute drive to Clarksville here in Tennessee, and I'll check it out and see. The most common thing with those are wheel bearings often go bad. I check the wheel bearings first. That's what I check out, would be the wheel bearings. There's a lot of different things it could be. And unfortunately, you're in a rich suburb of Nashville, and you probably won't find any really economical mechanics because they have to pay for the high standard of living in Nashville, and they're going to charge a lot more money. Like here in Clarksville, there's a lot more mechanics. They will give you a better deal because it's cheaper to live here. A house that costs $200,000 here might cost $800,000 in Nashville, so the standard of living is higher. Garages in California that you viewers tell me about, and they say, hey, they charge $240 an hour labor there. High cost of living, they just pass the cost on. So get a hold of me. I'll check it out. Venomous57 says, what cheap minivan should I turn into a camper? I'm looking to put a used minivan, $2 to $3 grand, and turn into a camper road trip vehicle. What should I get for? What should I stay away from? I'm buying from a private party. All right. Well, if you can find a Toyota Sienna in that price range, now it's going to be old, but if you saw a video I made a few weeks ago, a guy came here from Ohio. He had a minivan. It was a Sienna minivan, and he paid $1,600 for it. Now, it had 230,000 miles, but it still ran like a clock, and that would be a great one to turn into. All the American ones, they made like crap, especially the Chryslers. And I would not chance a Honda Odyssey because they had too many trannies and engine problems that if you're going to buy one for $2 or $3 grand, it probably has an engine or transmission problem, and that's why the people are getting rid of it. But the Siennas can last an awful long time. I would strictly look at older Siennas, and you never know what you're going to find. My grandson found one once. He got lucky. He found one for like $2 grand, and it only had 90,000 miles. It was kind of beat up looking. An older couple had it, and then they couldn't drive anymore. But, he cleaned it up, and he sold it for $6 grand. Just buys and sells stuff. So he made money on the deal. And if he was going to put it into a camper himself, great. He paid a couple of grand for the thing, and it was in excellent shape. You never know what you're going to find, but that would be the best. That's all says, All my life I've driven Toyotas, and I want to step out. My dream cars are a Cressida, wagon, and a Land Cruiser by Toyota. I can't find either now. I really want a wagon, so I'm looking at a 2001 BMW 525 IT wagon with 179,000 miles and a small coolant leak. What do you recommend to stretch the car to 500,000 miles? Put it in a rocket ship and send it to Mars like Elon Musk if you want it to go 500,000 miles. Those things are endless money pits. You do not want to go from having Toyotas your whole life and buying a BMW. They're endless money pits. They cost a fortune to repair. They say it's got a small coolant leak. What if it's the head gasket? To rebuild one of those engines costs many thousands and thousands of dollars. You do never, ever in your life want to go from driving Toyotas to driving BMWs. They are too expensive to repair. It's got 179,000 miles. I can guarantee you the transmission's probably ready to go out. And the cooling system is a small leak. Realize all the crap in those BMWs is plastic in the cooling system. They crack, they break, and you might think, oh, it's just a plastic hose. And then you find out you got to tear the intake off to change that plastic hose. It's going to cost you a fortune. Do not buy that BMW if you want to value your money at all. James Self says, Scotty, are silicone wipers worth the money? Yes, they cost a lot more, but they last so much longer. I have silicone wipers on all my cars because I hate changing them. I hate when they make noise. The silicone wiper blades are so much more supple than rubber that they don't make a if it's not raining enough, and they actually leave a little bit of silicone residue on your windshield as they wipe, which makes it even more waterproof. Sometimes when it was raining a little, I didn't have to turn the wipers on. The wind just blew it off up, and I didn't put a silicone treatment on. It's just some of the silicone wears off. And they are better wipers. You will pay more, but they are much better wipers. They last longer. They don't make noise. They wipe cleaner. We love them. My wife always hated streaky windshields. They don't streak anymore in her Lexus either. Now, here's a bit of unbelievable news from one of you viewers about a dealership. You got to listen to this one. Rick Green has a 2014 Dodge Dart, and his infotainment system's broken down. Now, they had so many problems, the information and all that system and the dash is an extended warranty of 10 years because they had problems, so they had to extend the warranty. It was one of the deals when people were complaining about it. Now, he's got 1 year left on the warranty, but here's what it stipulates. I can't believe the BS in this warranty. I have to pay for the unit and labor up front, then apply for reimbursement. The local dealer wants $250 to look at it and $250 to install it and $600 for the part. You think I could find one somewhere else? Well, if I were you, I definitely would. Because one, they're screwing you over 7 ways to Sunday. They're charging you $250 just to analyze it. Then they're charging you $250 to put it in, and they're charging you $600 for the unit. I can just about guarantee you, if they reimburse you, they may or may not, they're not going to reimburse you the $250 checkout fee. So right there, they're making money that they shouldn't make. You got this warranty. The warranty's supposed to cover it, but it's their warranty at the dealership. They should just fix it. Not say, well, you got to pay for it, and then you got to apply for reimbursement, blah, blah, blah. What a bunch of nonsense. This just shows you how crappy these Dodge dealerships are, that they pull stuff like this, and then hidden in the little contract of the warranty is, well, you got to pay for it first, and then you got to apply for reimbursement. You know? What a bunch of nonsense. That's why I say stay away from their products. They had to extend their warranty because these all broke, but then the extension has a little thing that says, well, you got to pay for it and then apply for reimbursement. Total nonsense, people. Total nonsense. But that's Dodge for you. It's a nonsensical company. Now, it's a European company. Stellantis runs them. Don't think it's going to get any better. It will only get worse as time goes on. Mark my words. Well, I'm sure you read about all the Chevy Bolts burning up, burning down to the ground, right? Well, now, the government of Quebec and Canada exercising a class action suit against GM for the 2017 to 2022 Chevy Bolt. Now, they had the problem with the battery starting on fire, and they had to recall all of them and stuff. The Canadians are saying they didn't handle it right, and they're going to have a class action suit now. Of course, they're liable for all kinds of reimbursements for stuff. I can't wait to see what happens with this thing. Hopefully, it won't be one that's squashed by some legal technicality. I mean, they're always trying to do that. But, of course, the Canadian court system is a little bit different than the American court system. So maybe it's harder to bribe the judges in Canada than it is in the United States from corporate money. I don't know. They seem to always get what they want over here. They sued GM for the Corvette, said, you made the wheels that broke, and then they said, you're suing about these wheels that were cast instead of forged, and all those Corvettes had so much horsepower it was snapping the spokes on the wheels. Well, they had a class action lawsuit. The judge stood up because, well, you can only sue for a building flaw, not a design flaw. And they were built correctly for cast wheels. But that's a design flaw, and you can't sue us for that. I mean, it's ridiculous. GM made them, bought them, sold them, right? So hopefully the Canadians will be a little bit wiser and allow them to get something against these people instead of basing it on technicalities that they can wheedle their way out of something that they did wrong. Alex M says, Scotty, greetings from Romania. I just met a guy from Romania the other day. Came here from Chicago. I'm curious if you ever heard about Skoda. If yes, what's your opinion? Yeah, Skoda, a lot of those are like rebranded Volkswagens. And in Europe, they're popular. And in England, they're popular. I went to England, I saw a bunch of them, right? If you have a bunch of cars sold, and there's a lot of mechanics that know how to work on them, and parts are cheap and available, that's fine. Of course, in the United States, they never sold them. Getting parts on them would be a pain in the butt. You'd be crazy to bring one over to the United States. But in a country where they have parts for them, hey, it wouldn't matter if you had the best made car in the world, like a Toyota Corolla. If you can't get parts and people can't work on them, it's no good when it finally breaks down. And in Europe, they got parts for Skodas and stuff. They've been around a long time. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.